Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. We have one more person coming in. This is our 37th year of doing our festival. Our programming is amazing this year. I'm so happy. As always, we have a great number of short films in this festival. One of our favorite programs is Girl Power, which debuts Saturday, October 5th at 2 p.m. at the Midtown Art Cinema, and then followed by a streaming window. And we're very happy to be talking to some of the directors from the program. I'm going to go around the Zoom room, let everybody introduce themselves, and then we're going to jump into some questions. Why don't we start with Nicole?
Hello, hi, I'm Nicole Lipp, and I'm a director and writer, and my film out on film this year is called Mistakes You Make Before You Die.
Yay. Michelle.
Hi, yeah, Michelle West. I'm the director, producer of Lesbophilia. Um, and we also have Tennessee Martin joining me. I'm just gonna toss it over to her too, since she's also on this film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
hi, y'all. Sorry for being a couple of minutes late. Tennessee Martin, writer, producer of Lesbophilia, and second time getting to be in out on film. So very
Yay. Thank you so much. Julia.
Hi, everyone. I am Julia Erringer, and I'm the lead director and writer of Fire Fucking Fire, which is very exciting. We also have Vico Ortiz in our movie, so I think we share them.
I
Okay.
was about to say it's our, I think, second or third time being in the same block. Fun.
This
Come
will
on,
be the
so fun.
second. It was in at DC Shorts. We
Yes.
opened the block and you guys closed the block. It was an awesome eco bookend.
We love Vico.
Yeah. Same.
And Myah.
Hi everyone, my name's Myah Asha Jeffers and I'm a writer director and my debut short Bathsheba will be part of out on film as well.
Good. We are so honored to have all of your films. I'm so excited. If you could, maybe in the same order, tell us a little bit about where you are in your festival run. We'll start with Nicole.
Yeah, where where am I? This is the only festival I'm actually doing with this film. Mistakes You Make Before You Die. It's a proof of concept, and I kind of just wanted like it to have her cute little queer community moment before I just put it online and move
Okay.
on with my attempt to pitch and make this actual feature. So I'm really honored that it's playing and this is just very special. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very honored too. Michelle in Tennessee.
Yeah, so we are about 6 months into our festival run, and Out on Film is the second Oscar qualifying festival that we've been accepted into. We
Hey.
screened at Holly Shorts
Hmm.
back in August, which was also our West Coast premiere. And coming up, we are screening at the Hollywood Queer Film Festival also
Hmm.
on Saturday. Um, and Seattle is next weekend. We're going to be at La Femme on October 25th
Hmm.
for Los Angeles folks, and then also Indianapolis coming up. So yeah, we're really loving our festival run. It's been a really great mix of festivals across the country.
Great. Julia.
Yeah, so we had our big premiere at Tribeca, which was incredible. We also played at Athens, Ohio, another Oscar qualifier in LA Shorts, and we won Best Film at Sunscreen Film Festival in Florida. So now we're sort of just keeping going. And at Catalina last weekend, out on film next weekend, Newport Beach, Santa Fe, and then we're going to be at a festival in Spain for our Evolution Mallorca Film Festival for our European premiere. So excited for that one too.
Nice. Congratulations. And Myah.
Thank you.
So I'm currently in the Midlands in the UK in a little city called Bolton and we literally just screened about an hour ago, which is really fun. This is
Okay.
our third festival. Yeah, so we premiered in Toronto at a beautifully queer festival called Inside Out. That was in May, I believe. And then we went on to Soulfest in London a few weeks ago, where the lead won Best Performance, which was really special. And next up, we have Leeds, obviously Atlanta, Seattle, and a town in England called Norwich. Yeah.
Okay, great. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank
So
you.
I want to ask you something all these films share is, in a fairly condensed amount of time, you're able to create really three-dimensional characters that center your films. Can you sort of talk about doing that and the ability to create such vibrant characters in a fairly short amount of time? Again, we'll start with Nicole.
Yeah. So as I said, this Mistakes You Make Before You Die is a proof for a feature. And I literally like dreamt this film. Like I watched it in my sleep, and then I woke up and called my dear friend Jetta, who I wound up writing it with, and she also plays one of the lead characters in it. Because I literally like watched her in it, and like I watched this movie in my sleep. I don't know. It's weird. I'm a freak. But so the characters kind of like they already existed. It was like, what did I have to do? I just had to do like what I watched already and like put it there.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool and like easy, which is a weird thing to say. But it was just so much fun because like I knew that Jetta was gonna play Dora. I watched her do it in my sleep. And then as soon as we found Terry who played Lennon in it, it was just like the characters, it was like the easiest, most beautiful moment of my life directing these two incredibly talented actors because like I feel like they just made my job so easy. And they're both just such skilled and talented, natural, beautiful actors that I was able to really dig into the emotions of it. And so I guess for those of you who don't know, slash nobody probably knows, the film is about a queer couple, and one of them is dying from terminal cancer. So they make a bucket list, which is like, boohoo, sad tearjerker, except it's actually, they make a really like fucked up and weird bucket list. So it's the first item on the list is going to an orgy. So it's actually a comedy about someone dying from cancer. And it was just so meaningful to have time to work with these talented actors and to bring out the nuances of grief and how complicated grief is, and ultimately kind of what we were investigating with this story is like what makes a life well lived, and like what's worth really living for. So it was, for me, it was like being on set and working with talented people is like my version of a life well lived. And it was just really, really special and meaningful.
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. Thank you. Michelle in Tennessee.
Oh yeah, well, Tennessee should take this one. It came out of her brain.
Okay.
Nicole, we have so much in common. Lesbophilia was also born out of a really messed up trauma-induced anxiety dream that I had. And so very similarly, I think, the characters were sort of created without me intentionally like, setting them up. But I thought what was really interesting is they really came to life in the development process. So Michelle, it started as a short story that Michelle really liked. And once we turned it into a script and started talking through what talent we might be able to access, after deciding on talent, we really started expanding on the characters and who they were and how to utilize them. So that was very cool. But I think we got really lucky with the people who showed up to help out, and the characters, they sort of took them on and they became entirely different characters just based on the people we were working with.
Julia.
Yeah, so this was based on Rachel Paulson, who plays the lead and is also my co-director on it.
Mhm.
We were working on a movie together called Good Kisser, and this sort of happened to her. Not all of it, but she was DMing a pretty famous rock star who was asking her to come to her gig in Seattle where we were shooting. And Rachel was like, please come with me. And I was like, no, no, I'm not going to crash your like sexy rock star date. Anyway, I think my sensibleness made her sort of throw caution to it and say, maybe I won't go. But we spitballed and brainstormed like what potentially might have happened if she had gone. And I think it was pretty ripe comedy fodder to put a rock star who's just, devil may care, throws caution to the wind, just like what could she possibly do that would be nightmare inducing. And having Rachel's character be this very type A people pleaser, and how far can the rock star push her, and that's that was the genesis of the short, which I think is really fun.
Myah.
Yeah.
Can I just say I can't wait to watch your films, guys.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
It sounds great. So my film, it's quite delicate and relatively silent, and it's a film that explores grief as well. It explores grief within the context of the housing crisis in the UK, specifically London. It's really hard to find a decent place to live in London. And so the genesis of the idea came from me considering what it means to be an older queer person having that sense of disruption of housing, and how you kind of lose your sense of self as a result of not having a stable place to live. And so the film follows our protagonist, Angel, who is dealing with the loss of her long-term partner and has now found herself in a really precarious housing situation. And we found this beautiful actor called Cecilia Noble, who I'd been a huge fan of in theatre for years, but never really seen on screen. And there was something about the tenderness as well as the dignity that she brought to the role. And even just the sort of conversations that we had before we even started shooting, which she just felt like the right person for it. And, in production, she did so much with her eyes. I know that sounds kind of wanky, but it was literally just her eyes that just told so much. And so it felt like a real blessing to be able to work with such a powerhouse, and for her sense of self to sort of breathe life into the dignity of this character.
Great. All right. Final question. Can each of you talk about the importance of queer representation in your work? Again, we'll start with Nicole.
Yeah, I feel really passionately about representation in stories that are not actually like about representation. I'm queer, I'm bi, I have a cis het husband who I love more than anyone in the world. And I've experienced a lot of a large array of mental illness in my lifetime. And I really have more recently come to realize that a big part of that for me was because I was, I think, in denial, and I was hiding, and I was not out as a queer person. And I think, like, I don't know, something about being bi is that you can choose to just only date the opposite gender, like it's like I don't choose to be gay, straight, bi, but like I can choose who I'm going to actively and publicly date, right? So no one really knew this part of myself for my whole life. And I think that hiding led to a lot of depression and anxiety and a lot of mental health issues and struggles. And as like a kid who was obsessed with TV and movies, I didn't have very many or really any bi or queer like heroes for me to look up to and realize like, oh, that is normal. I was trying so hard to be normal, like my version of whatever that archetype was my whole life. And I really, really, really believe that when I was younger, if I had TV and movies that we have today, like Heartstopper or like Sex Education, like a lot of YA now that is like really doing beautiful work with representation, I really think that my mental health journey could have looked so different. So for me, it's just like my film is not really like a queer movie. It's a movie about a couple experiencing something really fucking horrific. But they also happen to be a queer couple. And I think that's the kind of stuff I wish I had as a kid, you know, not just like uh, queer characters that were like their entire storyline was like coming out or whatever, but like realizing that like queer people are normal people. Shocker. Um, so yeah. Oh, what is normal? I don't know. None of us are normal. Normal is a boring word, but you know what I mean. So anyway, that's what's really important to me about it, I guess. Yeah, so I just want to do stuff like that. I just want representation in everything I make so that hopefully other, you know, kids watching stuff can realize that they can be whatever they are.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, the normalization part of it is truly so important. You know, I'm a cis straight ally director, and I didn't set out to make a queer film. I set out to make the best film, and it was a queer story that that came out of Tennessee's heart and head. And you know, we had a discussion at the beginning about the fact that I wasn't a queer director, and how is that going to jive with the story and the storytelling. And it became really important to both of us that I surround myself with as many people from the community as possible to be able to support the storytelling in ways that I wouldn't be able to access because I don't have that shared experience. And so, you know, I had to extend beyond my normal film regular team to find more queer creative leads who it was really important to be in creative positions and in leadership positions. And um, you know, this really became an example of the way I hope the industry to be in the future, where we don't have to segment queer stories and non-queer stories. We just get to tell human stories. And so that was my approach. But I'd love Tennessee to jump in on that too.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on, Michelle. And I always felt very comfortable with you tackling this story because of your approach. And I'll add to that and to, you know, add to Nicole's initial point. Bi erasure is a massive problem in our community, so is biphobia. And as a cis mask presenting lesbian, I think I grew up with a lot of internalized biphobia that I didn't even know that I was holding on to, because in a patriarchal society, we are sort of told you have to be a certain way in relationships, and there should be a man and a woman, and you have to, you know, am I enough as a woman who is dating other women who sometimes date men, and that kind of weighing that in terms of story was really important, and to sort of allow these characters to be flawed and to ask questions and to have concerns, but also to be able to communicate about it and talk through it and find themselves better in the end because they were able to open up and express themselves.
Okay, great. Julia.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important question and one I ask myself constantly. Actually, I really what Nicole said really resonated, and also Tennessee, just also being bisexual and coming to it later. Like, not, I think it's so easy to just like, oh, just go the way that the heteronormative programming is telling me to go. And you know, it wasn't until I became like best friends with a lesbian in LA that I was like, wait a second, what? You know, and my one of my first projects, Girls Like Magic, is all about that, and really how it can take you by surprise, just because like there isn't that much representation out there to even know that it's an option.
Mhm.
So at least there wasn't for me growing up in London, you know, way back when. So yeah, I really think that it's important. And I think that I could have come to that realization sooner, and so many other people can come to that realization sooner. And I think the more, we know ourselves, just the better off, the more fruitful our lives can be, the more full our lives can be. And I love the community. I've been so honored and lucky to be embraced by the community. And definitely, like, for Fire Fucking Fire, I think our whole crew was either female, gender expansive, and queer. So I was just like in heaven, and I have to say it's one of the most collaborative sets I've ever been on. So I think it's an indication that it's a good way to go.
Great. Myah.
Yeah, I think everything that I make, everything that I am is as a result of who I am. And so as a filmmaker, it feels so imperative to make work that best reflects the intersections of communities that I'm part of. And I think as a Black queer woman, there is an entirely different way of being, way of existing, way of being perceived when you have so many sort of layers of identity. And my hope and my desire is to continue to make work that reflects the nuances of that, and for it not to just be hot and sexy and young and frivolous, but actually to have some substance. And so that's why it felt really crucial for me for my first film to sort of tackle some sort of experience of someone of a generation that's beyond me, because there's so much erasure when it comes to olders. And so whenever I see an older queer couple in public, oh my God, my heart bursts, because it's so rare that you see that. And so I wanted to, just find a way to be as reflective as possible with that. But one thing that I did struggle with in the making of the film was bringing sort of queer people of color on set, and you start to realize that it's really tricky to sort of to arm yourself with a crew that best reflects the work. And so, the more films that I make, the more I want to make sure that that reflection and that representation goes beyond what we see on screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All righty. Mistakes You Make Before You Die, Bathsheba, Lesbophilia, and Fire Fucking Fire are four of the amazing films you can see as part of Girl Power, Saturday, October 5th at 2 p.m. at the Midtown Art Cinema as part of Bound on Film. These films will also be available for a brief streaming window. Nicole, Michelle, Tennessee, Julia, Myah, it's been my pleasure talking to you. I'm so honored to be showcasing your films this weekend. And thanks so much for sharing with us. And thanks so much for taking the time today.
Well, thank you.
It's been
Thank
I
you.
look forward to meeting some of you this weekend. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.